Hey, we love that umbrella guy. All right. Thank you.
I'm calling from Los Angeles, and I'm having a little problem. Under the name ThATuMBRELLAgUY, I sent him my phone number at least 20 times in the chat and told him to call me. He ignored me. I'm a man. I filed the report. If you guys could take a look at it and give me a call back, I would love to hear what you guys can do to help us. We really need to kind of stop this guy at least until Monday. I told him to call me. I'm a man.
You know what? I talk to your mayor.
Like my coffee, extra mad and bitter. Internet lawyer, all like juice, yeah, the man's a quitter. He's strapped, face up, behind the platinum grill. I style faceless, just pick these mic skills. And in the street killer, I will not be denied. That I'm mic'd up, I raise my head with pride. A force of nature, cruising the whip, doing walk-bys on your boulevard. Face my verbal cliff. In this land of live streams, baby, I'm on the road. Got my feet on the media, scraping them up my souls. It's that umbrella guy facing the accusers. Cleated out size 14s, crushing all those losers. That umbrella guy, they said we couldn't make it. Never ask permission, just sense I'll go and take it. The media buzzwords, they will never save you. Listen and believe is meant to enslave you. Challenging the hypocrites, and baby, I'm on fire. They flash titles like they're royalty, but it's true that I'm a journalist. Scribble nursey rhymes, one in this grill in a basket, with a tisket and a tasket, and their morals in a casket. No morals in a casket. They're always pushing make believe and weaving straw to gold, but I'm sick of all the fairy tales and buying what I'm sold. Strolling into the backyard, taking truth on tour, baby, there is sickness, and that umbrella guy's got the cure. Look, it's that umbrella guy knocking at the door. No more ministry of truth than the plot of 1984. I'm dumping all my verbal clips. The case is filled with knowledge. They're on the mic like kindergarten, and I'm taking them to college. Why the mask, baby? Cause this has to be a crime. I'll take the mic and boom, there in the chalk outline. I used to throw elbows, but now I'm dropping nukes. You wrote another hit piece, isn't that cute? And the worst part, they'll never learn it before the stakes start channeling crash and burn. They pretend that we need to get their permission. That umbrella guy crushing their ambitions. You're not my competition, it's that umbrella. It's that umbrella guy steamrolling them out for fun. Mic check, mic wreck, paging this army of one. There's no hesitation, no doubt, not even a scintilla. The Tokyo baby and me, I'm God's
What's up, folks? How's it going? Man, do me a favor today. Tell people we are live. We are at our weird time on Sunday, so it cuts into our people for sure. But still, there's always some good stuff to cover. I also, I believe I forgot to tag the video out. I wasn't sure today if I was going to live stream or not, but I decided, you know what? First of the month, let's set the tone, baby. Let's set the tone. It's been a crazy last few days too, just to be honest. We have today we are supposed to later find out some news about the mole. That'll be interesting. That should be later tonight. We have on the grill today, we had Darth Touch decide he was going to mail Jeremy, and he got really butthurt about Jeremy actually responding to him. He threw quite the shit fit about it because Jeremy was like, yo, you piece of crap. Maybe that lady you have a kid with, maybe she needs a good lawyer too. It's like, damn. And it was funny because last night you had him, Darth Touch, throwing an absolute fit about this. And I kept thinking that's interesting considering, who was mailing around every divorce record they could from Jeremy Hale. Him, who has decided they would try to repeatedly put up things about marriage and more about man. Oh my God! Apparently, there's a line in the sand. He's just a po reporter. He's just telling the story. And Jeremy Hale is the mean old monster. It's so funny. You have Shara too. You have Shara actually showing up on YouTube when. When you have Lynette Preston, she decides that she's going to post some stuff. Shara actually answers her right there in it, and that was kind of fascinating. And then you have, to boot all of that, you have the ecosystem seemingly abandoning John Cook, which that was pretty crazy. I mean, if you listen to them talk about John Cook, they tell you straight up, he's on his own now. He is not part of Lynette Preston. They are separated. Again, Cook needs to understand. Cook has definitely done some awful stuff, but it looks like he's going to be the patsy if anything comes down. That it seems like that's the way that they're playing. They're saying, because again, there's the comment that she made about the signs and about John making them. I mean, that right there is a problem for Cook. A big one. A very big one. And then all the other statements about him being a monster and doing all these terrible things. It looks like they have set up their perfect fall guy. And apparently BBB was not very happy with him either. So that document, we actually found out something. So check this out. Give me 1 second here. So the last document that dropped, that was Bruce's document. Let me see what number. Give me a minute. I gotta flip through and then pull up the actual document so you can see it. It'll take me just a second though. It was the last actual filing that we have had in this case. I mean, you've had so much stupid, but in 138, God, there's a lot of documents. There's been a lot of decisions. I've got to go in when this gets caught up. I've actually got to go and set them back in place. I've noticed I haven't filed a few away. It's just been all decision. But this document right here, you'll remember, this came up at the beginning of, the second week. I was going to say the first week. The second week came up the 9th. So it'd be the second week of May. John Cook, when he dropped this, apparently he wasn't supposed to. Apparently he dropped Bruce's master plan a little prematurely. And we know that this was Bruce's big play too, because Bruce all but said so before, and the anger about him dropping it, well, it kind of it kind of got vocalized yesterday, which is really awesome in its own way, because we're being told stuff I don't think we're supposed to know. By the way, I appreciate all you folks showing up today too. I know we are on a weird hour, I thank you, man. Already 8 freaking drop-ins as well there too for supers, man. T's T dropped 20 in there too. That's crazy. Thank you. Like I said, we set the tone for the month, baby. Thank you. That's kind of amazing. I'm amazed every time we do this stuff, just to be honest, But when we look at the statements that John Cook is, again, it put out here, you got to remember, it says it even in this, that, one second, that this was, you see the footnote right here, number 1. This memorandum was prepared by my former counselor prior to being discharged. So that was his big plan. He wanted this to be his lasting mark. And you got to remember, he brought this up too when the judge was like, hey, why didn't you respond? Why didn't you show up? Why don't you give us a reason for it? Remember, Bruce was like, well, but while I'm talking about it, I would like to petition the court not to accept my withdrawal pending this. So again, this was the master plan. And I think they got a little butthurt about this. Like, there was a bit of butthurt that was showing when they were talking about that. But I got sent quite a few fascinating clips yesterday. Quite a few. I got sent more than that. There were some things I had also missed for the last few weeks. We were talking about third party, for example. That whole third party violation. And I had missed a few things back when too. Like this. These chat logs are fascinating stuff, because when you look in, you'll find things like John Cook inviting paint chips to come to Otter Creek. And Paint Chips responding and again making it very clear he would come to harass Jeremy Hales, which again, this is the third party violation. See, John Cook, until recently, the third party violations, they weren't as egregious. I mean, you like I said, I'm not sure if you had Bruce keeping them on the chain a little bit or what was happening before, but lately, it's been off the chain. But here, and the person who sent these, who you are, by the way. I don't know if you want love and credit for it, but if you do, take your bow for sure. But you have that, and you have him again being like, oh, I want to come up, give me my number, get my number from Bruce. Look at them all like admitting their little chain here. Look, Bruce has my number. Oh, shit. Journalist my ass. Remember, he's just a rando out here. Totally have no connection to him. Oh, wait. Get my number from Bruce there. Give me a call. Then he brings up, I'm waiting on a life-size Jeremy Hales blow-up doll to bring. So he's saying I would come there to harass Jeremy Hales. That's what it's about. Regardless, it would be like, that was just a joke. No, that's the kind of stuff that plays in Ohio. That's the kind of stuff that gets you in trouble. That's the big meal deal. Oh, I gotta get a drink here. Isn't that fascinating, though? That supposedly detached. Remember when Paint Chips mailed and Bruce pretended, during the case to have just been, it was some disconnected journalist, someone not connected to him at all, that was writing Randy. Now you have, oh, well, by the way, here's my phone number. Why don't you get it from Bruce? Why don't you get it from Bruce indeed? Let me see too. Actually, you know what? I need to look at something real quick. Give me 1 minute. I just thought of something that makes that even crazier, depending. Holy shit, that happened while he was counsel. Oh man. So that actually popped off, I believe, when he was still counsel. Yes, it did indeed. So let me look at the date on something. I'm curious. I'm looking at the date on something because I want to know the date on a couple of documents too. And I need to look at the Fed here and see when all of this popped up. So what was it? 96 that was sanctions, right? Now, I don't know the specific date. Yeah, see, that happened in March. So everything, damn. So the communications with counsel and everything, and while he was counsel, he's having this ran through his lawyer. That's nuts, man. I take back anything I said about them. They did, though, for a while. You didn't see them in chats all that often. You know, it wasn't something that you saw popping up every single time. But now, now it is. Oh, my goodness. You want to see something funny? This popped up. Man, 1,800 of you have found your way here, by the way. Thank you. I figure, again, Sundays are a weird day for me. It's the first, though, like I said. You know, it kicks off a new month. And on the first of the month, I always like the very first of the month. It doesn't matter how well the last month goes. I always worry about the months. How will this month do? So, like I said, I appreciate you all. So check this stuff out here. I want to show you the Shara verses. This is weird, man. This is so crazy. Actually, which one do you want to see? Do you want to see Shara verses, or do you want to see that can be number one, or do you want to see Jeremy Hales versus ThATuMBRELLAgUY? That will be number two. We will go with, I'll let you all choose the next one that rolls up. They can be either. We'll hit them both. I mean, they will hit. But I went ahead and put them in order. I wanted to make sure, you know, it's funny because there's been this narrative that, here we go. There's been this narrative, this victim narrative 3. Give them all. Well, there's a lot of 2s. We'll do 2 then. All right. And then we'll do 1. We'll get them both, though. By the way, I'm still having people mail for Muppets, and that is okay. If you need a Muppet and you have not figured out how to make one, if you mail, I will. If I have not gotten you, though, and you mailed me previously, maybe I missed you, mail me again. There's also one person I mailed you. You sent a picture, but it was tiny. It was about the size of it was a thumbnail for real, like the size of my, actually more the size of my pinky nail. And if you mail a picture, it's got to be a little bit as far as clarity wise. If it's really small, I can't use it. So if you take a picture of your own thumbnail, you know, that you use on your phone, that's been up like on your YouTube, it'll probably come in real small. So just make sure you get one. And again, no problem on that. You know, people don't understand that sometimes, but it has to be a decent quality. Now check this out. So you actually have the admission, first of all, that this wasn't instigated by Jeremy Hales. You can see, oh, well, it started off innocuously enough when I sent him and others an email with a link to Paint Chip's recent article. Now, Paint Chip's recent article, by the way, is one that, amongst other things, well, it continues doxing, nastiness, and so much more. So, he does this all the time. He loves to harass people. You know, he usually doesn't get any answer, you know, but apparently he's been sending Hales too. I've seen stuff like where he sent Megan. You saw the email the other day where he decided he was going to mail Megan and he was going to mail Jeremy. And he essentially told them, he titled it Revenge Prawn, you know, but with the real word. He mailed them and said, well, I didn't even like that video, but now I'm going to post it everywhere. So, I mean, he is a harasser for hire, but he didn't like how this one went. So he was mailed 2 links to Twitter. Now, these links, they have multiple posts talking about things he's been accused of. You know, some of those tweets that came up, woo, baby, they're fiery. You know, more people have actually been looking into. I have heard some wild stuff. Here's the problem, though. Some people, I don't think they want to, they don't want their names to be out there, because the way that they've had to deal with these folks, they finally detangle them from their lives. You may hear the story they say, but they don't want it public, because these are horrible people to deal with. So, yeah, but some of the stuff, man. But you got to remember, too, you know, he's rather ThATuMBRELLA likes to tell you that you can't believe all that stuff. Well, it's fascinating. You know, again, you can believe everything that someone says about Hales, but you can't believe anything that someone says about oh touchy boy, right? It doesn't work that way. If we believe accusations, we believe them. You know? It's fascinating. They tell us, don't believe anything that is ever said about anyone in the ecosystem. Never believe any of it. Don't believe the text you see. Don't believe police records. Don't believe arrest reports. Hell, if you go all the way, like with Ray, for example, it's don't believe the fact that you know, a judge said, this person went to jail for 4 years with paint chips. No, don't believe that. you can't believe that. No. Oh man. But mailed a couple there, and Hale said, looks like she could use an aggressive lawyer and someone who can afford an aggressive lawyer and someone who can afford that lawyer. Hey, I saw that last. You know, I'm gonna give a brief overview of everything with this case in a minute. All right, there are new people that have. I talked about this Saturday. We talked about how Legally Lips was trying to sue myself and a few other people. And it's gotten some people interested in what the heck is going on, because this is the craziest case. I'm telling you, it is the craziest case, or cases. It's not one case; it's multiple cases. All right, so I'll show those to you. I'll give you like a brief 5-minute rundown, and there's so much I will leave out pieces. Okay. I apologize, but there's no way to catch it all. You know, it's so crazy. Even when Megan Fox did a really good breakdown summary of some of the stuff that's gone on, but the new additions to that even are crazy. But as far as his ex is concerned, it was, hey, looks like she could use an aggressive lawyer, someone who can afford that lawyer. Oh man. So ThATuMBRELLA is like, you should go for it. You and my ex are a match made in hell. And Jeremy's like, no. Not a match, you know. That's not the thing. See, unlike ThATuMBRELLA, who has admitted relations with people that were in vulnerable positions. In fact, the whole thing that came up with his ex is quite the story. He says no one else cares about this story either. You know, no one outside of the people right here care about it. But I mean, when you think about this, this is a guy that covers court, as in, you know, domestic issues. You're talking about divorce and terrible accusations. While he's doing this, he's sleeping with some of his sources. This particular, the people he's covering, rather. I said sources, but his stories, rather. So, and he's not disclosing it. This woman, for example, that we're talking about here, he was living with her. He was having relations. He was attacking her soon-to-be ex, I suppose, through all of this. And then she gets knocked up. Now, she ends up accusing him of some horrendous things, let's say. And through that process, she's no longer the victim anymore. You know, even though he's covered all these stories and stuff, making her the victim. Now she's some kind of monster. and he decides he's going to, you know, unload on her in court and more. But when you think about that, that's messed up from go. That should be an issue. The only problem is the reason people don't care is because they don't know who the fuck this person is. If they did, ooh, man. So Jeremy's like, no. You misunderstand. We're going after you in court. You know, a tremendous amount of money. There'll be a significant amount more. Let's see you in court. So, you know, this is the first time he's written him here. You know, he's like, go for it. I've been sued before frivolously. I can handle a frivolous lawsuit. And he's like, again, with your limited intelligence, you don't understand. It's not being gone for. The process has already begun. Oh my God. So he sat over last night crying victim about this because of that ex. He was saying, he's gone after my child. He's done this. He's done, well, did you see him mention child? I missed that part in those screenshots. But yeah, I mean that woman right there, like I said, you know, we're supposed to believe every accusation in the world. But so if you're wondering about this case, it starts off, I'm not going to say basic, but it's easy to understand at first. All right. You have a guy who moves to a little town, Otter Creek. This place is population around 100 people, you know, maybe less really. Moves out here, buys a lot of property, moves in, big YouTuber, 700,000 plus folks. Woman moves across the street from them, moves in from Northport, sold her home, went out, moved across there. And at the time, note she was a super fan. You know, she posts about this, moving across the street. In fact, she posts about a first interaction where Jeremy Hales is nice enough to use a tractor to move a tree and all kinds of stuff. Well, problem becomes she starts to well, okay, let's cover it from the court angle. The court angle. Let's go with the accusations here. All right. Accusation is that when she moves over, it was all for money. She wanted money from this guy. And when she doesn't get it, she decides she's going to ruin his life. Now, that at first, when she's, you know, talking about him and stuff, and she gets a cease and desist. You know, she's told, hey, stop it. Of course she doesn't. And anybody, you don't have to comply with the cease and desist. By the way, you don't. Especially, I mean, people can send them to you erroneously, but seeing some of the stuff, I think that Jeremy Hales had a point there. He wasn't talking about her or anything at first. He goes and protective order fight starts off. Now, he ends up going and getting a protective order in Ohio, which becomes, it actually is taken and it will be violated a couple of times. She tries to get a protective order in Florida. This temporary, you know, when they give you one, there's a temporary injunction against you. You have essentially a temporary protective order until things are sorted out. You know, you'll have like an injunction against you for a few weeks. It's supposed to be about firearms and, you know, restricting your free speech, all of that. Well, this drags on for almost a year. It's pretty bad too. The judge that's on it is so bad that an appeals court gets involved and removes him. And then she suddenly drops everything. So he gets dropped, huh? Then you have many cases start spawning. Now, you have the case that we're talking about now with the accusations of, that's federal case 1, we'll call it. All right. That's between her and the man that lives there, John Cook. I'm going to call him her significant other, even though she says he's a monster and abusive and a piece of shit. Now, I don't know what's going on with that. She says sometimes she's kicking him out. Sometimes he's there. Who knows what the fuck's going on there, right? But it involves those two. And Hales tried to add other people. Now, these other people, they will tell you they were just covering the case. However, one of them who inserted his way in became their lawyer. He has now since quit the case, but I'm sorry, he got quote unquote fired. But he created this thing. He was talking about it called the anti-what-the-hales media ecosystem. He was talking about it behind the scenes. The name of it leaked. They created this thing specifically to ruin this guy, to drive him under. This guy who's, again, he's being brought in as their lawyer, wants to ruin lives. I mean, it's nuts to look at. Now, out of that, as retaliation, in my opinion, you have not one, but two cases that pop up. You have the quote-unquote thumbnail case, we'll call it, where they tried to say any of these people's likeness and their names that have been utilized, that's a no-no. You can't do that. 540-08, in Florida, which is garbage. They end up dropping it, but they wait too long. It's still lingering. Sanctions pending. They also brought in another lawyer, by the way. They paid him a few $1,000. You find out behind the scenes, this guy's actually he's more like a puppet. The lawyer we're talking about, Bruce, it sounds like he's been pulling the strings for that and so much more. So you have another lawsuit that spawned out of that. We call it the Trespass 5, where there was a guy living on the property of Lynette, Preston, and John Cook. He wanted to leave. He had asked for help. So a bunch of people go down. They try to help out. And they're all thrown into a lawsuit, plus a police officer who was there too. Now, you have the right to go retrieve your property, have people come in, remove it. So that's what happens. It gets dropped. Now, out of that, you have another lawsuit spin out of that one because two of the parties that were sued in that, they incurred expense and they want their money. So we're talking about a lawsuit that is spun out of that for $50,000 plus legal expenses. So, if the farther that goes, we may be talking about a $100,000 case or more. Right now, you have another federal. Now, out of federal lawsuit 1, you also had these parties, they counterclaimed. Okay, so John Cook, Lynette, Preston, they put in 3 counterclaims. They have since dropped 2 of those counterclaims because they wanted to launch some giant freaking lawsuit they keep talking about. Who knows? We haven't seen that one yet, but that one will be coming. That'll be another lawsuit. And you have another case that was brought up in federal court wanting to connect more of these media, these anti-what-the-hell media ecosystem people into this, saying this is conspiracy to ruin this man's business. So you have quite a few people that are named in that. And we're in the early stages of that. Now, as part of this, you have these people, they start soliciting money for and bringing on some horrible folks. 2 of those, one of them we just talked about, call them Paint Chips, aka Richard Luthman. Luthman is he spent 4 years in prison for fraud, for extortion. He has also been in jail for other things too, but him and his partner, which we were talking about, his wonderful array of issues that he's had as well. Yeah, they look pretty much on paper what I would say. I would term them harassers for hire. They are in fact being sued by another person, a person that makes TikTok videos, as being, one of them is being sued, Luthman, as a harasser for hire. But God, the stuff they do is wild. So anyway, this other person comes in the last month. That would be, I'm going to call her Legally Lips. She decides that she wants to portray herself as this nice person. She's just neutral in all of this stuff. But secretly, she was running she wasn't just running this YouTube account where she was doing interviews. She was running an account that did AI videos that she did about 20 of them that took Jeremy Hales, put him in I'll just say it, in a Klan hat and all kind. Just the ridiculous, but also pretty disparaging things. You know, she's doing all this crazy stuff. And meanwhile, she decides she's going to open up a lawsuit. So you have lawsuits everywhere. Right now, you have more that's going on in Ohio from what I understand, from what Jeremy Hales, said publicly. Now, on that protective order, by the way, you had the protective order that was good to go. You've had 2 violations of it. So Jeremy Hale's got a protective order against these people. They violated once, got in trouble, got violated again, got in trouble. Now they have been third-party soliciting. You can't have other people come in and harass other folks. It's not, it's madness. It's the craziest case I've ever seen. And explaining it to people outside, it is so convoluted because of the insanity that has gone on with it, that it makes it a difficult explanation to tell to people. On Saturday, though, I talked a little bit about the legally lips portion, because that gives people a way to talk about this that haven't seen it from the beginning. I went on Flashcast. I talked about it somewhat. I went and goofed off with Yellow Flash and a few other folks. I enjoy like Yellow Flash. I've known him for a long time. I've known certain people that are on there for a while. Some of them not as long, but I have a lot of fun on there. So I brought that on. People thought it was really ridiculous. I mean, when you look at the lawsuit, it is ridiculous too. Suing random Facebookers for calling her an idiot. Saying this guy, somebody made a joke about her getting knocked up by an acquaintance. She says they were saying it as a matter of fact thing. They were talking about, I'm sure, that guy that we just talked about, Paint Chips, Darth Touch. I get them mixed up. They're almost the same person to me. One definitely has more of a record than the other, but they're a pair. They're the tandem. So, but it's such a mess. I've spent months untangling the drama and insanity, and it is the most entertaining thing I've ever seen. Now, again, as I say, I think I say this, people make fun of me because I say it all the time, but I mean this. I wouldn't wish it on any human being. The stuff that Jeremy Hales has had to deal with is insane. But as an outsider looking and covering this, I can't stop watching it because these people are crazy. They are. So here's Lynette Preston. She was posting on her YouTube channel, because she uses it. All these people too. I believe they're cowardly in the way that they won't use a social media site like a Twitter or a Facebook to truly go out and try to put out their point, especially not a Twitter, because people might answer them there. Many of them, they use YouTube as a way to control any kind of blowback that they get, because they can delete the comments. They also will do that. They will run their own Facebook sites. It won't be a profile. It will be their own groups. So they can, again, delete stuff. But here you have Preston throwing a fit over Jamie. This is if you're new to this too, one of the things that has been alleged and seems to be something that keeps coming up, and it'll be brought up here, you keep having people that she says have to be kicked off the property because they're drug users. Now, the question that keeps coming up is, why do you keep having those kind of people on your property over and over and over again? You have a small child there. So she says, though, to those saying Jamie flew to my home in Northport to help me clean it up, to sell it, and I mistreated her? Well, dears. I have witnesses that she showed up high as a kite, sat on our couch, and didn't wake up for 3 days because she'd been up on meth for days before coming to meet me. Now, again, she's been saying, by the way, that all these statements about people being high, being drug users that have been on her property, all of that is nonsense. All of that is fake news. And yes, And yet, here you have, wait a minute. So is it fake? I'm not sure. I'm confused. Oh my God, it cracks me up. I've gotten about 4 Muppet requests. I will hit those in a little bit. But oh my gosh. I cooked for her, offering to take her places, but she couldn't because she was coming down off of it. Oh no. I was a saint. I was an angel. I offered to do everything, but I couldn't do anything for her because she was a D-ruggy. My question is, again, if you pop up and I got my kids around, I'm probably going to give you the boot. You know, I'm just going to note that I'm going to give you the boot. You're not going to come on my property around my children and do anything like that. I mean, that's a ridiculous motion. You know what I mean? These folks are so crazy there. Give me a second here. Oh, these people blow my mind, man. Could you imagine, like, again, thinking this is your big win? You're like, actually, I was the greatest person ever. 1 second. Can you make this AI pick a Muppet happy? Thank you. I run these while we're talking, by the way. The Muppet thing has been fun. Everybody's got freaking Muppets now. Okay, so we actually became very close that visit, and I offered to help her get clean to save her kids. Wait, oh man, look at this. St. Preston arrives. She actually was the greatest in this visit. You know, this lady arrives. She wasn't helping me. I was helping her. Okay. So you talking garbage. Should vet what you say. I have witnesses, people. Well, who's your witness, by the way? Are you talking about the guy that you say lies all the time? She says J-Ron lies all the time. You know, like I said, I really think they are going to hang that man out to dry. And I'm not saying that he is not guilty of stuff. I 100% believe that he is guilty of stuff, but he didn't do everything. He wasn't guilty alone. You know, there were other folks, but I think they're going to pin everything on him. I really do. I mean, when you have body cam footage where she's saying that all he does is lie, he's a terrible abuser. He abuses her family. I mean, it's the statements that she has made. And again, she has made those to the police, not to just random folks. See, that's what kills me about this whole, we're going to sue Jeremy Hales in the name of the child. And it's like, well, wait a minute. You know, who's going to sue exactly? The kid's going to sue because he thought some of what Preston had to say was legit, you know? I'm really confused by that. I guess we'll find out an answer to that. But I mean, her statements, it'll be fascinating to see how the police respond to that. You know, or not the police, but the judge responds to her own words being used. Body cam footage talking to the cops. You know, here's the red flag statement somebody has heard about that. Oh, by the way, you know, it's all good. Oh, and here's yet another one. I mean, if we're talking about, again, these are her own claims. So she's saying on her property that there was a meth head that was around. I mean, that's not good. You could see issues. And let me make this statement here too. You should not be contacting anyone associated with this ever. I want that to be a blanket statement. Do not ever contact anyone. It doesn't help. You don't contact the people. You don't need to contact agencies. Just don't contact anyone, you know? But let's continue here. So, to this day, I do not hate Jamie. I feel bad for her. I am sad she stoked from us. She's stoked. What? I think it's supposed to be stole, but it does say, look, by the way, I'm blowing up just a little bit. Look, it's stoked. I am so sad that she's stoked from us. Yeah, that's terrible that she would stoke from you. I hate it when people stoke from me. I'm sad I had to see the meth in action in Florida here. And again, I have a witnesses. A witnesses? Is it a witness or witness? I'm really thrown off by this wording. Does that mean there's one person that is a supposed witness, or you have multiple ones? Do you have people outside of the folks that live in the home, by the way? That's when, again, I don't want to hear from somebody that you yourself have said they lie all the time. That's probably not the best witness. Wait. He got high with her and stayed overnight with her at your place? Wait, who's the he? Where did this he come from? Look at that. It just pops out of the blue, like he, you know. Are we talking about like somebody related to her? Or are we talking about someone else? Again, I could assume, you know, based on other things, who they're talking about. But I mean, that's an assumption, right? But apparently just some random he floats in there, and he was also getting high and chilling and hanging out. Okay, so there's two. Wow, that's really, when you think about it again, the thing that goes unspoken in all of this is the fact that, again, she's saying there's a meth head, another person on the property. Your Muppets working out, Kim. That's good. Like, some of y'all's Muppets have been coming out great, by the way. They have been. I'm very happy with them. You know, I'm actually, sometimes they, like the old AI, like just a year ago, if you put in something and told, you know, AI to, hey, why don't you make this into something cool? It wouldn't be able to do it. Have y'all seen the Studio Ghibli taking your pictures and turning them into like the, you know, like Spirited Away and all that? Oh man, those are awesome too. If you get bored, you should check those out. Those are pretty fun as well. But anyway, so he got high with her, stays overnight with her. I pray for her and her kids who are special need kiddos, seriously. So stop your lies. So again, she brings up somebody else's kids in this. She decides, remember, don't talk about kids unless it's somebody else's kids. Then it's okay to bring them up in that. I mean, it's so nuts, right? So look who pops up here in the comments. It's none other than Shara. I was like, holy crap. Oh my goodness. They are starting to get frisky. She actually comments a few times there. She says, first, Jamie didn't steal a thing from you. She also worked very hard to help you. You even tried to force her to clean up more trash and rotting food from your property while she had a broken foot. Holy crap, man. Where is all of her property the sheriff's deputy instructed you to return to her? Oh, man, wait a minute. Holy moly. Not only that, you know, it would irritate me too. The one thing I would say with all of this, the message I've gotten from people that have lived on that property or been around, whether that's Madam Mayor, whether that's relatives, whether that's the guy that had his RV there or more, is that I wouldn't want to be there. I would never want to help these folks out. You know why? Because at the end of the day, if I help them out, they may try to ruin me. You know, I mean, that seems to be the message with some of this stuff. Everyone, how many people have you seen that they post some horrible thing about, and you become fodder for them. Nobody's ever nice to them. In fact, you had LP tried to make just gross claims about the Grangers. I mean, about Mr. Granger. That was so gross. She was like, "Oh yeah, he totally wanted to get down on me." It's like, ooh, no, he doesn't. We know why? Because no one wants that. Oh God. Ugh. I mean, really. That's just so awful. She posts like it seems like a 20-year-old posting with some of those statements there. But yeah, she claimed. Oh, I was just like, oh. Then Shara asked the question that you really want other people to ask too. It's like, hey, why are you inviting so many people you claim are on quote unquote meth to your home with your small child present? That's true. While you tell CPS no one on your property does the old meth. What about the recent violent paint huffer you invited to live on your property with your small child? Whoa, baby. Now that got a little frisky there, did it not? It's like, hey, wait a minute. Again, you can make all these claims. Why are you having these people around all the time? And I think that's a legit question. I mean, you're not talking about one or two. Now, she kept saying that other person didn't live on the property, by the way, the one that Shara is referring to. But interestingly, if you listen to the police, that body cam footage that came up, one thing that seems abundantly clear in that is the police, they know where this person resides, and it seems they are saying that it's there. That's the way I interpreted that interaction. So it is a good question, though. And again, I'm not saying contact anyone, by the way. What I'm asking in that is, how are you going to, they're talking about an Ohio lawsuit. They're talking about going after Jeremy Hales and going after other people in the name of the kid. How do you do that if? How do you do that if? And I think that's a legitimate question. Like, when you make these statements, don't you think this is going to pop up in the court? Because I damn well cataloged this. If my name comes up in any shit, I have cataloged so much stuff. I mean, the accusations against John Cook alone, they are nuts. And she's made them, I mean, I filed this stuff away. I filed this one away as Jamie and quote unquote meth. Now, I'm not saying anything pro or con about somebody being or not being on something when I say that. And that's just how I filed it away, because that's the crime. And if she's going to make those kind of claims, how can she say that people out there in the world, they're not allowed to have concerns? I mean, if you were telling me that there's a small child around, some people, there's meth issues and stuff, like, again, you're giving the reason why people would say, oh, wait a minute, abuse. I've pulled up a dozen things so far that refer to the kid in troubling ways. I filed this stuff away because this person says that they're going to sue everybody that happened to ever mention this case. So if they're going to do that, unless they're 100% simping for them, then they're okay. But otherwise, everyone's going to be sued. So file that one away. Also, she was like, why are you publishing medical information on our minor children? I'll be covering Jamie's story. She's the victim. And that is a good question, too. Why exactly are you talking about the status of her kids? Why are you saying that they are special needs? Why are you talking about that at all? Like, what does that have to do with anything in this? That seems more vindictive than anything to me. I mean, I think Shara has a good point in that. Now, Shara has actually been on a posting spree as of late. She's been it wasn't just this. She's actually been posting other stuff. And some of her stuff that she's been posting, I'm talking in the last day, she has been fired up. I think, the stuff with Jamie especially seems to really get her fired up. Good. Good. Because fired up, Shara, oh, she's entertaining. I do have to say. Let's look at this. So, Shara's been on. Let me shrink this down a little bit. Makes the words look weird otherwise. So, Shara's actually been on Facebook. And she's been posting quite a bit. Now, the Facebook comments are such a mess. I actually hate Facebook comments. And the reason I hate them is because they don't all show up correctly. Let's go with all comments. Let's try that first off. Now, the timeline on this, again, the way they pop up in here, sometimes they pop up as a mess. But let's check this out. So here's Shara. Let me actually blow that up a little bit more. Yeah, we blew it up a bunch. She posted, she was like, hey, BBB, who's the quote-unquote source leaking, quote-unquote, criminal investigation on JH to your satire journalist? No worries. I have the case number, and I won't miss a trick. Huh. So, asking, oh my God. It's so funny. Like to see her just making fun of these people and ripping into them. So let's look at a few of these, by the way. Let's just see what's here. Let's see what she's talking about here. Shara says, Attorney B said I spelled his polymop wrong in my song. Oh, and his peanut PR show. As if every stage is his. Boo-hoo. I say polymop, pull out lots of material obviously present. In other words, you made the mother load necessary, B. Who's to blame? Talking smack. I always love smack talk. It's always fun. Let's see what else is down on this one. Says up. Here's James saying, there's an official spelling for the polycrap they keep doing. And he's like, what WTF are they talking about? It's not even in the dictionary. That's true. It's not. Shara, they also are spreading a rumor you paid for Lynette Preston's new lawyer. Yeah, that ain't true. That's certainly not true. I'm going to say right now that if they're spreading that around, they're hoping that some sucker out there will believe something and that it'll rile up Shara. But they're hoping that they rile her. What I don't understand is, again, they motivate her to continue to look for information, like to dig through everything that has ever been said by them to her. And she has found she just keeps finding it. That's the wild thing. There's a lot. You got to think too. I had somebody ask me one day, hey, why didn't you just go through all of that and blah, blah, blah? Well, you got to remember, you're talking about over a year of in just any random conversation. You have to go through every single interaction, figure out what is relevant and what isn't. And when you're doing that, you'll remember a few of them off the top of your head and think, wow, that's kind of crazy now that I think back. But some of them, when you're thinking about it, you probably didn't catch some. You don't catch everything that comes up in the moment. All right, so let's go to the next one. B, what's a flipper? Your PR keeps publicly calling me a flipper. Oh my gosh. That's the best they have. That's the thing. They want to turn anybody that has a problem or communicates or notes any kind of issue, they're the enemy, And it's fascinating. Again, I'll talk to anybody. That didn't make me the enemy of anyone. I've talked to people in the ecosystem. I've talked to people that they see problems that are coming up. I've seen, I don't include some people. When I say the ecosystem, what I mean is this too. I'm talking about there's a distinction. There are people that believe LP and JC. There's some kind of merit to their claims. And then there's people that are in the conspiracy. Those are part of the ecosystem. So when I say that, I do draw a distinction between there's two things that are there. I don't believe that everyone that has believed Lynette, Preston, and John Cook, I think that they are wrong, but they are allowed to have their opinion. But I don't think they're necessarily guilty of anything whatsoever. But then I believe there are indeed people that are part of a conspiracy. I very much believe that. But I've talked to people that, that have put real money behind them too. That's probably the most crazy thing of all. Watching people and not learn from this, by the way. Some people do, but there are others that don't learn that your money is all they want. They definitely don't care if you're there, but boy, they want your money. They've enjoyed the benefit of having a bunch of morons be very loose with their definitions, number one, of what's happening, and number two, with their wallets. But this idea of a flipper, so Shara, they're mad because Shara, they thought that she was bought and paid for. That's the whole thing. They thought that she would never, ever have a problem and speak out. She noted, though, that there were a couple of issues. She had problems with certain things. And you know what? You're allowed to have problems with certain things. You can. I'll have people, again, I don't get in debates about it. Because, like, if you see something that you don't like, you're allowed to. You're allowed to, again, we aren't part, well... Unless somebody sues you, we are not part of the case. It's so weird to say that because these people want just every rando to be part of the case. They want to pretend there's a conspiracy against them while they participate in this crazy freaking conspiracy. That's so bizarre. But she's like, I'm not on anybody's side. The file speaks for itself in every case of every word. Don't beg for me. And they did. That's the crazy thing. They begged for her to be part of it. They begged her to be part of it. And then suddenly she's the enemy. Isn't that bizarre? Let's see. Let's roll down. She has posted a lot lately. And there's the, have you all looked at everything that came from her video? I think she got the screenshots from her last video, but I want you to make sure that you watch that video itself. Let's look at the screenshots today. I think that would be fun. I'm trying to see Glenn. Where's Glenn here? I'm trying to see who she's responding to here. I don't see them. This is about Attorney Stark, though. I feel very bad for Attorney S. I see him as another victim. He was desperate, suffering ailments, and struggles to stay afloat. He was used, and then B then jumped the ship, leaving him to hold B's dirty paper bag of polymop tricks. That's actually true. I don't feel bad for him for one reason. I understand that Stark was probably in a bad place there. I get it. But the thing is that if they would have won, he wouldn't have cared that he destroyed anybody's life or cost them money. He wouldn't have cared. When people, I get that you get in a bad way, and I can even empathize with that. But I can't empathize with the fact that, again, he was totally down with burning people's lives to crisp, to cinders. But I understand the argument for that. But yeah, I do believe that Stark, he was recruited. Remember, we saw the contract actually came from Shara. And we found out that these people that were supposed to be doing pro bono work, Stark, he was supposed to get a few $1,000. They paid him, but on the back end, remember, 40%. Pro bono lawyer that wasn't pro bono. So crazy, isn't it? But, and I like Attorney S's strong, devoted wife. MP sure mocked her behind. Whoa, that's crazy. So, Stark's wife was mocked by Lynette Preston behind the scenes. Is that what I'm seeing there? Huh. Now, I would really, that might be motivated. Boy, if you could find some screenshots of something like that, Shara, I think that would really motivate some tea, you know, because I think she's the one. See, with all the health problems and everything that are hitting Stark, she's the one that sees all the proof, and she's the one that sees everything that's going on. She's also the reactive one. So if they were mocking her and treating her like garbage behind things, holy God, that could make things really, really interesting there. But MP sure mocked her behind the scenes as the couple innocently tried to help her. It was sickening to witness, and she did the same to the kind pro bono attorney. Oh man, so MP mocked those people? MP mocked? You're talking about the Ohio lawyer as well? That's interesting. I wonder if the Ohio lawyer knows about that too. Well, that seems to be par for the course from what we've seen, you know, publicly. Again, anybody that has helped, they end up getting treated like garbage behind the scenes. That's why I don't understand the whole, let's help them. Why? Like I said, they love your money, but you're just a garbage bag with organs inside of it. Nothing. People don't care about you. They couldn't be bothered. They can't be bothered. It's not even not caring. It's worse than that. They can't be grateful. That's what I saw. I saw it with, I've seen it with, again, like everything from Granger's to the whole Only Me saga, you know. But I was pulled onto the phone by B when he pursued attorney S after his Florida buddy told him no. B needed to pull me in to use me, so it was not him pursuing a Florida attorney. That's one of the reasons he instructed me to write his synopsis. Holy shit. This is crazy. Think about this. So the way that Bruce, this is what she's alleging, the way Bruce skirted the idea that he's recruiting, this is a big thing right here. This is huge. I have not read this before, but this is actually a huge statement, because what she's saying is a lawyer's not supposed to go out and recruit a case. He's not supposed to put it into play. But what she's alleging here is that she was utilized as the face of this. Bruce stuck her out front. So like he wasn't, quote unquote, recruiting a lawyer. That's crazy, man. But that makes sense. Actually, with everything you've seen, that totally makes sense. Woo, baby. That'd be something to know to, man, Jeremy. Jeremy, you should see that, buddy. If you don't, somebody needs to send that to him, because that is nuts. But he needed me, pull me in pursuing Florida attorney. That was one of the reasons he instructed me to write a synopsis to create a contact paper trail. See, they're creating a paper trail saying, it wasn't me, I didn't do it. Because you saw when Stark talked about everything, he talked about Bruce's involvement and everything else. Wow. I would love to see how the contact really initiated. I would. I'd love it. Stark, Bruce also isn't your client. I realize that you have confidentiality when it comes to MP, JC, whoever there, but Bruce is not your client. So some of the stuff that he thought he was coming down with a fat bag. what he ended up with was a few $1,000s and a lot of promises. And again, he may end up having to pay out sanctions. So it seems like a lot of people may have been lied to. I wonder how you keep so many of these people in check, because there's a lot of people there that would burn him at the first sight of anything. She says, I was unaware at the time. I was too. At the time, I too was being used. He then used the synopsis against me as a weapon with super puppet. Super puppet. That's what you are. Stupid Dave. Oh. He has been. He's been a really good puppet for them, too. They dangle him out. You notice anything they say about other folks, they're like, oh, Jimmy Hale is the puppet master. And really, I mean, you see them out there dancing to these other people's, their song. And it's fascinating to see. It is so weak sauce, man. And 2LPRDA Esquire. That's funny. And emailed it to several professionals behind the scenes against my protest and wish. Interesting. That is interesting. I think there's more than one mole. I think there's I don't know. Well, you know why I say that? I have talked to people very close to, to the mess that's involved. And I think there are more of them that didn't want to be tied in. Now, I don't know how far up the ladder moldom goes exactly. But if you would consider a quote unquote mole, you know, people that were inside that had the know. I believe there's more than one. We'll find out some information today, though. But, so B, quick question. The Polymob schemers are all cooking a criminal case against JH for the sheriff that let it slide when your client pulled a gun. Jeremy Hale, yeah, that's true. That's crazy. So, they're, that is true. Yeah. So they want to cook up a criminal conspiracy trying to get Jeremy Hales in trouble. That's the same sheriff, by the way, that let John Cook slide after the old pew pew there. Jeremy Hales, again, I hope Jeremy Hales records every single thing, even when he's not away. I hope there are always cameras on everywhere, because anything these people do, anything that he could be accused of doing, even when he's sitting around, you know, sleeping, I hope there's a camera around proving that he's there. You know, because these are the type of people that I think they would try to hem you up and blame you for whatever. Make sure that you have a strong alibi no matter what, because these are the type of folks that God knows what they may try to involve your name in. Let's see. All my comments or commentary in real time for documentation. That would be today, by the way, just to note. Your Polymob showtime last night is fully recorded, B and PR. You're going to Polymob me for protecting a child? You want to giddy up with me, Attorney B? There are a plethora of stars in the sky in the daylight. You don't want to see them, but they're shining. That'll be interesting. You're like, yeah. She's been calling out Bruce a lot, though. That's funny. I like it there, though. Your PR is not a witness to anything, Bruce. She's behaving as an agitator and appears to be stalking a famous YouTuber for quite some time. So why is she the lead in the criminal case? If they're sitting around trying to construct a quote-unquote criminal case, some kind of insane conspiracy, why would you brag about doing that? By the way, why would you sit around online and brag about the fact that you are trying to frame up a criminal conspiracy to get a guy arrested. Like that's insanity. You know? Like when you think about it, they're just sitting around, all of them together at night, bragging about how they're going to try to get a dude arrested. Like that, again, they don't think that looks not insane, but that doesn't look like a third party coming in and trying to do something crazy that involves a protected person for the person he has a protective order against. You don't think that's going to be an issue? Oh, Lord. It's like I keep saying, and I really wonder if this is going to happen. These people are going to keep doing things in the name of, you have, again, they're sitting around talking about this stuff, and you have the people that, again, he has a protective order against, sitting right there in the chat, communicating with all of these folks, talking about all this shit with Jeremy Hales. They're not supposed to be talking about the dude, not supposed to be motivating people to harass him or more. They're doing it day in and day again. And they don't think that one day this is going to put them potentially in jail. I mean, she's already violated twice. How many more violations do you think? Do you think this is just an endless rainbow of violations before? Because it's like nobody wants to take that seriously. It's like Ohio. Again, they can spin Ohio however they want. They can say that protective order it's garbage, whatever. But every night they go in and they do things that they look pretty awful when they're out there. And they're doing them for people that have solicited them for help. They aren't attorneys, anything like these. Are just random. One of the guys, again, like the paint chips communication, where I just showed you with John Cook and him talking, oh, hey, Richard, come up. Why don't you? And he's like, oh, I'm waiting for a blow up Hale's doll before I arrive. That right there, you're talking about a guy that's in the middle of litigation because he's being accused as a paid harasser. A dude who's been in prison. Holy crap, man. I don't see how that stuff doesn't talk you into a sale. B, the public would like to know the name of your PRDA Esquire 2L's Billboard song on the charts. Quote, Billboard songs on the chart that she's been referring to as her quote-unquote big hit while collecting funds using the child's name, who remains in a tin shed for 4 years, to build the quote-unquote barn for several months. Or was she really a quote-unquote groupie for a band on the charts? What's the name of the song? And why isn't the barn built after nearly 60 grand donated? It's interesting how you all just beg the public for another $6K for an attorney retainer after you jump ship. Yet $60K, I mean, it seems to have gone. But these are all legit questions. Where's the money? What's going on? Where's the memorial, for fuck's sake? Where's all these things? I'm not talking about 2 twigs and a. Oh my God. There's more too. But you know what? I'm going to shelf today. That's going to be as far as I go today. I'm going to hit some super chats. Today is so nuts. I'm going to, let's see, give me a minute. Let me see. I'm getting, there's 2 in here. I had a Venmo, $25. Thank you there from Jason. Appreciate that. Take the kids for pizza. Indeed. Appreciate that. Actually, that sounds like a good idea, to be honest. Cheryl, thanks for the 10 as well there. Appreciate that. It says Sunday Monday. Indeed. Thank you for that too. Fallen Hero, thank you for the gifted membership there. Thank you for that. Appreciate you. Rickles, thanks for the 5. For the record, I was you were here before Sesame Street, but still identifies as a pie. As long as You can be around and still get your Muppet on. I get it. Get your Muppet groove on. Max Lab, what's up? Much love to you, brother, by the way. Appreciate you, man. Melody, thanks for the 4 months. Always a fan. Well, I appreciate that, Melody. Thank you. Glad to see you. City in Chief, who do I think the mole is? My top 3 are likely Plumber, Stupid Dave, Ray. Oh, God. I don't know. I've got them. There's also, there's a few people to guess, you know. I don't know. I'm not sure. I would have even said 2L2, you know. Because where are they in the lawsuit? But I don't know. I'm just not sure. There's a few names. There's about 5 or 6 names that pop up. And I wonder if it covers everybody. I wonder if there's multiple moles, just to be honest. You know, Cynic. I think those are good guesses, though. Plumber, yeah. It's a good guess there. Super Dave, yeah. That's possible. Ray, yeah. I can see that, too. I just don't know. I wonder. Tease T, I will find out tonight. Tease T, thanks. You dropped 20 giftos there, by the way. Thank you, T. Appreciate that, man. That is awesome of you. Rick Friend, thanks for the 2 there for Bucks Candy Money. Thank you. We had to do a lip gloss run today, so that's actually good. That's it. Thanks for the 5. Megan's a journalist too. That's right. And they have no problem doxing the shit out of her, but Darth Judge has a problem being responded to. Indeed. He's special like that, though, guys. You don't understand. He's totally special like that. It's not just, he will mail, like I said, it's not an article or something he mails out. He will mail things that, again, like a heading with revenge prawn. And he'll be like, I'm posting this thing all the time, every day, all the time. Who cares now? You know, despite it being taken down repeatedly so far, you can see what kind of people you deal with. Navy Vet, love for the broken. Thank you for 5 gifted memberships there. Thank you. That is awesome of you. I appreciate you. Kind of linguist, thanks for the bad day today. Thank you for making it better. Hey, I appreciate it, man. I get it. You know, some days today I was having a day. I thought, man, you know what? I'm not streaming today. I'm not going to do it. I have some stuff on today. I was like, but I thought, man, you know what? I'll get in here. We'll goof off some and it'll make me feel better. So I'm glad to have you all too. Really, thanks for the 5 months there. Jeremy got under the Substack writer's skin. LOL. Indeed. You know, and they want to be victims. You know why they want to be the victim too, though? Because they're hoping that increases their cash flow. If they can be one of Jeremy Hale's victims, maybe, just maybe, people won't talk about that past anymore. They won't talk about the level they go to. Some of the levels that some of these folks have gone to is insane. So they just want to be a victim, you know. Chance, MP, thanks for 5. Everybody wish me a happy birthday. 60 years young there. Like, surprised made this far. Every year I feel like that, you know. Let's bust you a song. Happy birthday from all of us to you. Yeah, happy birthday. Make all your dreams come true. Yes. Appreciate you too. I really hope it's been a great one so far. And I hope you have fun today. I think like that though all the time. I'm like, man, another year. That's wild. You know, Navy Vet, love the bro. Thanks for the additional 5. The ecosystem going crazy on steroids. Yep. Now on OP, the ball gun. Watch for the backfire. Yeah, I'm wondering. I do not understand. Can you explain this to me? How does he sit on his hands and think, I'm going to let this happen to myself? How does he? Why take this shit from that person? I mean, it's wild to see, you know? Because he talks like a man, you know? But it's just like they all talk a big talk. Again, they talk and they squawk like a man, but he just lets himself get buried under it. Hey, Janice, thanks for the 10. Can someone please tell me who Darth Touch is? Yes, that would be Volpe. You know, I paint chips. That would be Luthman. But that would be, they're the two. I would call them bullies for hire. They like to call themselves journalists. I would say that they don't really do research. What they do is they try to find things that will edge a person into making mistakes. And that's what Paint Chips has actually said out loud. It's like, he's taking the bait. Taking the bait. You know, he's done that in the past. But apparently, again, it's not right. It's just like legally lips. You know, oh, you can't talk about the stuff that they've been in court for. Things that they have said. No. That's not turnabout. Turnabout's not fair play. Third Ben Herp. Thanks for the two. They're still connecting the dots in the saga. Well, there's a lot of dots. They are. The dots keep adding. You know, it's kind of like, it's not a fixed picture. Most cases are a fixed picture too. By the time you get to the court portion, you are trying to situate everything on a board and figure out what happened. It's kind of like a forensic file. You know what I mean? You're looking at something as an echo from the past, but this is an active situation still. This stuff just gets crazier and crazier in the moment. That's one thing that distinguishes it from a lot of other cases that we see. Navy Vet also dropped a 5 gifto there. Thank you. That is awesome. I appreciate you. I'm my favorites. Dropped a gifto as well. Thank you. I'm my favorites. It's good to see you. I'll set Wombat. Love it. Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships there. You need to turn that into a Muppet. That's funny. Your profile needs to be a Muppet. That'd be really funny. I love it there. Hazel Monty. Thanks you for the 4 months. She lies so much that if she says good morning, one starts questioning. Indeed. It's how I feel about the post. Well, you know, there are so many things that have run contrary to stuff. It's kind of like the tractor and moving the tree. You notice how that story, there's at least 4 versions of that I've seen. 4 freaking versions of just how you met somebody. Well, that's nuts, isn't it? Like especially when there's, you know, usually a liar will go and contort their story to match existing evidence. These people don't even care. They don't care what's out there. I mean, they just brazenly lie about shit. And there are so many, they have morons. A few of them, for some reason, like they're either people that are butthurt about Hales for some reason. So they hate him to the point that it doesn't matter what these folks do. There's some issues like that. You have other ones that are just, I mean, they just want to watch the chaos, or they hate people. Maybe, you know, some of them they hate Megan or they hate myself, whatever. It doesn't matter. They can't agree with you on anything. They can't. It wouldn't matter. And there are just some people that are just a horrible fucking people. They will back awful shit. But people do need to do their, I mean, if they thought about this being their lives, they wouldn't be okay with this stuff. They wouldn't be okay with somebody putting out signs, calling them a PDF file. They wouldn't be okay with that. They wouldn't be okay with somebody talking about putting a tracker on a vehicle and getting some prison buddies. They wouldn't be okay with any of that. They pretend to be. Kim, get the 5 there too. Yeah, my Muppet's working. I feel like a princess. Thank you, Tug. I like your Muppet. I really do. I love it. Appreciate you. Mom Bear, thanks for the 2 there. The man with the RV there was 75-year-old. That's true too. Yeah, so Lloyd, the guy with the RV, I do think that is worth adding. The guy that was involved in the Trespass 5, who had to have help removing his stuff. Yes, he was not what we would call a spring chicken. He had, you know, gone out. He had done plenty, let's say. And good God, give me a second here. 1 second. This thing locked up on me. 1 minute. There we go. My StreamYards was trying to lock up on me. But he asked for help. We heard the conversation. Well, at least one of them. But there were multiple conversations. Jeremy Hales, he had nothing to do with going over there, but people film for their safety. They posted it. I don't blame them for posting. I would have posted that shit too. You got people out there that say that you do horrible things every single day. Yeah, I would have posted it to make sure that I shot down any of their statements. But it was crazy. 75-year-old just had a hip replacement. They had to drive him from the hospital down there to tell the police it was okay, even though they cleared it before. Crazy. Lady Badger, thanks for the 10 there. Love my Muppet. I'm glad you do. I love the Muppets there. I hope Johnny doesn't mind. Oh, never. Never, we're born in the same hospital in Kentucky. That's cool there. We both have a lazy left eye and a burned leg. I consider him a cousin of sorts. We love tugs. That wouldn't matter there, He very much appreciates people like backing him, giving him support. I mean, he does. Trust me on that. He does. So, Kathy, thanks for the 2. Send a Facebook message. Flying monkeys. I'll have to check that out. Thank you. DTG, thanks for the 10 there. Hey, y'all. Fascinating TLDR. Yeah, it's that's like the bare minimum I can add into. It gets a lot crazier than that. My Polar Spark, my money's on guano being a double sale. Oh my gosh. So I forgot to put this in here. So I went back to the Meal on the Grill, or I think that's the right name for it. Jeremy Hales, a couple of years ago, he had a get together with subscribers. They all, they had a party. And in that video that he has put up, you have Guapo speaking. And what's fascinating about that is he tells a story where Jeremy Hales, he has a guy trying to get up in his face and stuff. And Jeremy's response is how Jeremy's responses are. And Guapo is totally okay with that. It's totally good. It's fun times, good stuff. Now, it's the opposite. Now everything that the man does is he's a monster somehow. And it's interesting to look at that situation. And you see what, as long as you're helping somebody, as long as you're actively dishing out, then you're the greatest. But when you're not, that's a good note, Polar Spark. Forgot about that. People should watch that about, I think it's 29 minutes in. That's where Guapo's little speech is. I thought that was really interesting. Hey, Laura, how are my bees? They are still not my friends. I have tried to tame them. They are not listening. We still are having some issues there. I'll go on a rant about that. I'm not today. Not today. One day though. Shara, thanks for the tip. I sent you an email exchange. I had with Wanda Perez. Here's my promised breadsticks. LOL. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Up Scotland. Thanks for the 10 there. Hey, Tug, here's some candy fun for Bug, Lug, and yourself. Hey, thank you there. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a lazy day. I think it'll be an ice cream day, maybe. That might be it. Wanda, thanks for the 9 months. Hey, Tug, you already got my email. Got them emails. Yeah, I've been, while we were sitting here too, I've been popping off some emails and stuff as well. I've been, let me see. Yeah, I've got 3 more Muppet requests too. I'll get them as I can. Oh, that's funny. Check. That's interesting. So, here's something that goes with the Shara stuff. I'll probably put this in tomorrow, just to do a follow-up on what we're talking about. But she took pictures, she took pictures, put up a thank you and everything else about Jamie at the time. She didn't have anything to say about the D-rugs then. Isn't that weird? It's weird how it's almost like that stuff is just, it depends on the mood of the person posting. Huh. I'll have to show you that tomorrow. I'll pull that in. That's good, though. I appreciate that. I saw it in the mail there. Also, Wanda, thanks for the 10. Hello, my breadsticks for email. Now, if people need something or whatever, you just send over. I don't care. I can't say I can answer everybody, but I try to help out people when it comes up or they need something. Also, by the way, oh man, Angela, thank you. Sent 25 for the PayPal. That's awesome. There is not a statement attached. That's a big statement. Thank you too. That's cool. I actually, the kids wanted to do something today. I think I'm gonna fund it out of PayPal today, actually, because it's available there. That's what I use. The operating cost for the early. It's funny. The operating costs for the channel come out in waves. So the first ones are done, for the first week, and then I have some that come up about the 10th. Yeah, and it works out good. I'll probably use that. Thank you there. Nocturnal. Thank you for the 28 months. Hey, thank you for my Muppet rather. Hey, you're welcome there. No problem. Like I said, all of you, I appreciate you. Yeah. And Pickled Tank. Hey, I like that. Okay, I remember making that one there. Thanks for again from Muppet. And tell me. And I had Muppet Twin and Kim. Yeah, some of the Muppets. Again, that's however AI sees you, and it's funny. Like, what's really funny is some of the Muppets are so spot on with folks. Like it's awesome, and some of it's really, I don't know, it's kind of amusing too. Like, it'll take something that a person's wearing, and so it makes really comical. There was one that somebody had their dog, and I can't remember which one of you it was, but they have your dog on the steering wheel. Just sit in your car. And the way the AI not only picked them up, but they had a harness on the dog, and the AI picked up the harness and put it on the Muppet and everything too. So I love that. I thought that was really funny. I don't know. It just kind of cracked me up there. But anyway, I'm going to end here. Now, remember, Jeremy has a live stream coming up today. It will be at 7 o'clock. I'm ending early today, though. We will be on tomorrow here. Megan is out, so we will actually be on here for the next few days. All right? So, appreciate you. Like I said, we'll be doing a few live streams, which is, it's good. We'll have fun with it. But I will see you tomorrow. Appreciate you.